Okay, so for those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Nelson Quest. I am a 36-year-old entrepreneur from the USA. In 2013, I founded a real estate technology company that I've since grown to over 50 employees. In 2014, I moved to Colombia, donde aprendí a hablar español con fluidez. I improved my salsa level from human tree to Casanova, and I'm currently working towards climbing the highest mountain in every continent while also trying to win a national title in boxing. And in my spare time, I basically try to give myself a fucking brain aneurysm by spending at least 30 hours per week working on these videos, where I dive into the darker, more authentic aspects of personal development that nobody else is really talking about. A funny story, about 3 years ago, I had the fastest growing personal development channel in the English-speaking world until that channel was deleted with no explanation after uploading more than 100 videos and investing over $100,000. I actually cried for about 15 minutes, and then I started working on a new channel, which I launched a few months later. That channel is now the fastest growing personal development channel in the Spanish-speaking world. So as you might be able to tell, given that I'm speaking English right now, the prodigal son has finally returned to making English content. And in the time that I've been gone, I've made some significant upgrades. My goal with this video is to introduce or reintroduce you to who I am through a daily routine that has evolved immensely over the last 10 years as I've worked obsessively to dominate each of my 4 dimensions: physical, occupational, expressive, and mental, or what I like to refer to as the POEM framework, which I'll cover in other videos. Okay, I think that's a good enough introduction. Let's start the video.
Good morning, Nelson. There are 3 entries today. At noon, you have Melted Face Studios meeting. Next, at 3 p.m., you have weekly marketing meeting. Have a wonderful day.
So these days I tend to wake up at around 6 a.m. and the first things I do are piss and check my phone. I have employees working in every time zone so that over the course of 24 hours, my business is always moving forward. And so I like to check to see if anyone is waiting on me for feedback. I find that blue light exposure first thing in the morning helps me to wake up, helps maintain healthy circadian rhythms. And so to help with that, I put on blue light glasses as I move through the rest of my routine. A quick note on my house, everything is automated. I am obsessed with efficiency, and virtually every time-saving investment that I can make is worth it to me, even if it only gets me a few extra minutes. So at certain times throughout the day, the curtains go up or down, lights go on and off, the stars turn on after the sun sets, and my bed even tucks me in at night. My entire apartment design was heavily inspired by Tony Stark. I have a full tour video coming soon, so for the 1% of you that didn't immediately subscribe when I winked at you about a minute ago, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Okay, so after I check my phone, I head to the kitchen and drink a big bottle of celery juice. It's got some vitamins and helps get me hydrated, but I mostly just drink it because it helps me go to the bathroom. I'm getting old. I also take a single serving of Focal a day. I promise this video is not going to turn into an infomercial, but with that being said, I've been using Focal products for over a year now, and I swear by them. Focal Day kills morning brain fog and helps get me focused for all the work that's coming. After that, I asked my housekeeper Julissa to help make me my morning drink, which is a caffeine-free probiotic tea that I like to mix with a little bit of keto chocolate and a single serving of collagen powder, which is amazing for my skin and joints. I try to avoid carbs from 6 p.m. until around 10 a.m. the following day, as I find this gives me the same benefits as intermittent fasting. Julissa works with me every day now. She's obsessive compulsive, which is basically a dream disorder to have in a housekeeper. If every inch of my apartment isn't completely spotless, she feels like she can't breathe. I seriously don't know how I get so lucky in life. Julissa also prepares all of my meals, which are always delicious, as well as fresh cold-pressed vegetable juice. My favorites are carrot and beet juice with just a little bit of ginger. While Julissa is getting my drink ready, I take a quick 2 to 3 minute shower. I always start out hot and then slam it over to cold for about a minute to just wake up. Then I dry off and it's time for meditation. I always start my meditation with some rapé, which is a type of tobacco that I was introduced to by a shaman a few years ago. It's considered ancient medicine and has lots of physical and mental benefits. In my case, I find that it purges my thoughts and puts me into a space of calm awareness that is perfect for meditation. It also clears the fuck out of my sinuses. Although I have a space in my apartment designed for meditation, lately I've been meditating in my closet so that I can simultaneously do my red light therapy, which improves my energy, makes my skin young and sumptuous, and boosts my recovery from workouts. I do a 10-minute timed meditation on the Calm app, where every 15 breaths or so I rotate a little bit so that I'm getting light exposure across my entire body. For me, meditation increases that little space between the things that happen to me and how I react to them. And I feel like most of who I am today is a direct result of constantly working to amplify that space. Meditation was also my gateway into Taoism, which I consider to be my principal philosophy. Taoism's most powerful metaphor is the river. At any point, we're either moving with the river or against the river. So learning how to move with the river at all times has been an invaluable part of my process. Now listen, I know at this point of the video you may be thinking that I'm extremely disciplined, and while I won't say that you're mistaken, what I will say is that most of what I do is really effortless. To me, difficult is laying on a beach with a pina colada, going out partying, really anything that isn't moving me closer to my goals. People love to tell me that I need to be more social, and respectfully, these people have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I don't go out, I have virtually no friends, I work entire days, every day, and I've never been happier. I've spent most of the last 10 years living a very lonely and isolated life, which did sometimes get pretty difficult. But it was in that solitude where I discovered and continue to discover who I really am. These days, however, I am rarely lonely thanks to my two beautiful ladies. First is my almost 2-year-old Boston Terrier. Her name is Ro, which is short for Rorschach because her face reminds me of a Rorschach test. She's blind in one eye and everyone thinks she's a mute because she doesn't bark, but I love her anyway. And she loves me unconditionally. I also have a gorgeous, brilliant, intellectually curious girlfriend who supports me in ways that makes me feel like it's actually okay for me to be me, which is something I've never experienced in my life before. We don't have a normal relationship. She understands that I need to work and train every single day, even when we hang out on weekends. But when I work, she studies. When I train, she trains with me. Sometimes, actually a lot of times, I find myself looking at her and wondering if she's really real. Anyway, from the moment I wake up, I generally try to be at my desk working within 30 minutes. From 6:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., which is when I'm most creative, is when I work exclusively on Nelson Quest. For my first few years of making videos, I used to absolutely detest writing the scripts, but a scary voice in my head demanded that I keep going. And I'm very glad I listened, because at some point I began to experience writing as a boundless art form, and that's when I became obsessed. There are few things that I enjoy more in this life than waking up early, getting on my treadmill, queuing up some beautiful symphonic music as I sip on my tea and lose myself within the infinite corridors of my mind as I write. Hopefully, you guys are noticing this passion reflected in my videos, and if you have any questions about writing, the art of writing, let me know in the comments below. At 10 a.m., I have my first 1-hour training session, boxing, which, despite my profound predilection for writing, is my favorite part of the day. Pre-workout, I have a glass of Sanson wine with a spoonful of honey, 1 egg, and beta-alanine. This is part of an old boxer's potion that tastes just as disgusting as it sounds, but it gets me fired up. During my workout, I like to sip on my patented intra-workout recovery drink, which is 8 ounces of orange juice, 100 calories of dextrose, 25 grams of protein, and a few big scoops of Greek yogurt, which tastes absolutely delicious and helps me recover much faster from intense workouts. My boxing coach and I have really good chemistry. We're both bullies and always try to be as offensive as possible in our interactions. I'm basically laughing hysterically whenever I'm with him, at least until the warm-up is finished and the actual workout begins, because from that point onward, it's all business. I always work with a training partner so that every combination, every drill, everything that I do has the context of an actual fight. At the end of training, we do sparring rounds, which is the part of the day where I feel most alive. I love developing new techniques, new movement patterns, and then having an opportunity to test them in a scenario where there are dire physical consequences if I make mistakes. I also fucking love hitting. I love getting hit. I love having to wipe the sweat out of my eyes so that I can see again. I even love the way that my coach cackles away like a hyena in the background whenever I get cracked with a big shot. After boxing, we all usually head to the pool to swim for a little bit, grab some sun, and then it's another cold shower before I head back to my apartment where my housekeeper has my breakfast ready. When I'm done with that, I go to a cafe to work for at least 4 to 5 hours. So from this point of the day onward, I focus 100% on my business, Agent Fire. Now for the past 7 years, my cafe order has been the exact same: 1 oatmeal cookie, 2 bottles of water, and a shot of espresso, of which I only take a few sips so I don't get addicted to the caffeine. I spend most of my days in meetings and working on big picture stuff, focusing mostly on sales and marketing. Fun fact, I use the exact same equipment and setup for Nelson Quest that I do to help make videos for Agent Fire. Anyway, now is a good time to introduce Laura. She's my assistant and handles all of my stuff here in Colombia. She's mainly responsible for managing everything having to do with Nelson Quest, but she also handles all of my legal stuff, investments, scheduling all of my teachers, visa, and she lets me know when I look stupid. At around 4 p.m., finish up at the cafe and I head home for workout number 2, which is either a workout in my home gym, which I do about 2 times per week to help keep my body strong and injury-free for boxing, a salsa class, which is my go-to recovery day workout, or my personal favorite, the Green Goblin. I train on a Trek Madone SL6 with a full Wahoo system that adjusts resistance on the back part and adjusts the incline to the front part for when I'm going up or down hills. I always pick a different 60-minute training program using my Zwift app, picking more intense programs based on how I'm feeling. Now, here's the best part of this training. I only allow myself to play video games if I'm training on my bike. And I love video games, especially role-playing games, which is kind of a problem because I always end up wanting to train on my bike. I play on a big 8K TV with Bose surround sound and use Sync, which syncs all of the lights in the room to the TV and makes me feel like I'm in the game. Like so much so that there are times where I'm literally pushing myself to my limits and I forget that I'm even working out. So after I'm done with that, I'll shower again, eat my dinner, and then it's back to work until around 8 or 9 p.m. At home while I'm working, I like to alternate between my treadmill desk, seated where I have a vibration plate that I use all the time, and then sometimes on my sofa using recovery boots. I think sitting for long periods is horrible for our bodies, and as someone who used to suffer from chronic leg pain because of this, I now do everything I possibly can to always keep my blood flowing throughout the day. I also do all of my work using the Pomodoro technique. I actually have a video coming out on that soon as well. My sweet spot is 50-minute work sessions followed by 10-minute breaks. At 9 p.m., I shut everything down, take my focal night along with some ZMA, which helps me sleep like a little baby. And then I hit the sauna for as long as I can survive, which is usually about 15 minutes at 120 degrees Fahrenheit. After that, I take a very dark shower. For those of you keeping track at home, we're at 4 showers now. And then I like to listen to a podcast or a fiction book to try to wind down while Ro tries to smother me to death with her body. Hey Google, good night.
There's one entry tomorrow. At noon, you have Nelson less than greater than Alex Mead. Good night, Nelson. At
10 p.m., it's time to go to sleep, and then I do it all over again the following day.
Good morning, Nelson.